praise to the Most High Yah for allowing us to be here today, make it safe and traveling up and down the dangerous highways. You know, it's always a pleasant to stand before Yah's people. And just a few things that Yah put on my spirit to share with the people. You know, giving honor to my wife. She's sitting back there. A little bit about myself. Born in Mississippi. Went to the military. Spent a lot of years in the military. Now I live in Arkansas. I've been in Arkansas for a lot of years. I'm a father of 8 children. Been married over 30-some years. My oldest child is, my oldest daughter's 34. I got from age of 34 down to 16. So it's 8 children in between there. And then I got, y'all blessed us. We had another granddaughter born 2 weeks ago.
3.
I think her name is, what's her name? Zakaria? Something. I'm getting old. I can't remember all these grandkids' names.
Zaria, man.
What's her name?
Zaria.
Zaria, okay. My wife, she had to help me remember. You know, when you get a lot of grandchildren, you get old, you be forgetting the names, birthdays. So you have to ask somebody to help you out. You know. But you know, one thing, as I was listening, and one thing I will share with Amori Mordecai, we talk a lot, and we always talk about Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble. But my thing is, what are we going to do about it? How are you going to prepare? And one thing I learned in the military, we prepared every day for war. But we weren't at war. Every day we was training for war. Every day. But there was no war. But what was they training us for? They was getting us prepared. So how are we preparing ourselves? We talk about Jacob's trouble. And one thing I want to share with you, I learned something. You know, you can learn a lot from your children. My youngest son, Yisrael, I think he was about 13, 14 at the time. He's about 6 feet. He was weighing like 230 some pounds. And he said the spirit of Yah put on him not to eat. So he just drank water. And I'm a father, you know, I'm getting kind of nervous. Like, you know, you sure you know what you're doing? And Yah took him from 231 down to about 160. And so I learned something. I said, you know what? The human body can go a long time without food, but you need water. So you can learn a lot from children. And what Yah is showing us, so I said, you know what? Let me try that. And I did it. And a lot of times in the military, I like to take my body through different challenges. And if you never fasted, and you can't get food, how do you know you're going to be able to go through that? You know, there's a time I thought about in Genesis, I think in Genesis 47. Let's look at it for a minute, and I'm going to be out the way. In Genesis 47, this is something that came across my attention. And a lot of times when people are used to eating every day, right, they're comfortable. But when you take their comfortability away from them, if they're not strong enough, they'll sell out for anything. See, we say we can go this many days without food, and we talk this, but if you don't prepare and train your body, how do you know you can do it or not? And there's come a time when you have to do it. So, let's be truthful. Some of our people ain't going to make it. Why? Because in this society we live in, y'all let us know that, you know, we done got spoiled as a people, and we still spoiled. Because a lot of things we can do for ourselves, guess what? We won't do it. We pay the Asian to do things. We pay everybody else to do stuff for ourselves. We go to the Asians, the Arabs, some of the Africans, but some of the stuff we can do for ourselves. But we done got so spoiled. You know, I'm a country boy from Mississippi. I know how it is not to have nothing. I know what it is to work in the cotton fields. Some of you probably never seen cotton field. I done chop cotton. I done pick watermelons working in the fields. So I understand this. But I'm going to show you something. Look at Genesis 47. Look at verse 13. We always talk about Jacob's trouble. But what are we going to do about it? How are we preparing? Can you go 3 or 4 days without food? If you just had to drink water, could you do it? We talk about it. Can you do it? If you couldn't go to the grocery store, do you know what plants that y'all done put out there in the earth to eat? Do you know how to survive? Do you know what a yellow dot plant look like in the wild? Without ordering off Amazon? How many know what a yellow dot plant looks like? When you dig that root up in the ground, what color is it? Good yellow, ain't it? And yellow dot plant grow everywhere. Anybody know what a plantain plant looks like? You know what a plantain plant look like. Now, I'm talking to family now. See, these are the things that we have allowed our enemies to take from us. We was connected with nature. We was connected with everything that the Creator made. We was connected with it. We was agricultural people. Now we can't grow nothing. Some of us don't want to learn how to grow nothing because we don't want to get our nails dirty. We don't want to get our hands dirty. We don't want to sweat. Sometimes, some of us, we don't even cut our own yard. We pay people to cut our yard. That's how spoiled we done got. We pay people to cut our yard. We pay people to rake our yards. See, when there was a time when we didn't have a whole lot, we did things for ourselves and we shared with one another. But as soon as our enemy allowed some of us to elevate, we began to separate. We moved out to what they call the suburbs, and then we forget about everybody else. But look at Genesis 47:13. We always talk about Jacob's trouble. But what are we going to do about it? What are we doing about it? Genesis 47:13, we can say, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was what? Very sore. So that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the what? And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they brought. And Joseph brought the money into what? Pharaoh's house. But watch what happened though. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan, and all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in the present for what? Money. I'm telling you something. The paper you got, that ain't real money no way. My great-grandmother was born in 1913, 1911. So I got a chance to talk to her a lot, and she told me a lot about the Depression. And during the Depression time, when they didn't have money, they bartered. The barter system. That system gonna come back. So if you don't understand how the barter system works, you're gonna find out sooner or later. I was sharing with Brother Mordecai a few days ago. What I say the most precious thing gonna be? Water. What happened in Mississippi? They can't drink water. How many know how to purify water? How many know how to make a purifier out of 2 5-gallon buckets that's food grade? Or to use some filters, get the charcoal filters and get another filter to go with that to take the fluoride out the water. How do you know how to do that? See, you don't have to spend $400-500 to get that Berkey system. You can create your own water system. And also you can use charcoal to filter water, you use sand. So that's my specialty. I work in the water field. And a lot of the water, drinking water, so you got to understand the Most High judgment is on all the land. And you don't have too much pure drinking water left in those aquifers. Where I live at, we live by the Mississippi River. Now California they want to take water from the Mississippi River where I live at and ship it to California. Well, that ain't gonna happen. Because California's at a serious drought. So they taking water from some states trying to ship it to other states. And we need to pay attention to what's really going on and come out of our comfort zone. Look at verse 16. Genesis 47:16. And Joseph said, give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. And they brought their cattle to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, for the flocks, for the cattle of the herds, for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. And when the year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord, how that our money is spent. Also hath our herds and cattle that is not off left in the sight, but our bodies in our land. So that they did what? They sold themselves back into what? To bondage. See, when you're not prepared, right? And when a situation happens, you're going to get desperate and you're going to make the wrong what? Decisions. See, when your stomach starts touching the back of your back, and if you don't know how the Most High said he feed the birds and all that, if you don't know that the Most High got food out there, some of us going to do what? Some of us going to die, or you're going to revert to doing something you ain't got no business, stealing, and doing other things that going to cause you to violate the Most High laws. So in this little brief that I'm bringing is that we need to be prepared. And one thing about me, I have a wife and I have children, I have grandchildren. So I have to look out for everybody. So I'm thinking, and one thing I would like to share is this. How many of you married people in the house? How many of you depend on your spouse's income? If something happened to your spouse, where will you be at? If something happened to your spouse and you relied on their income, where will you be? Do you have enough life insurance to carry, or do you have life insurance? See, these are the things that our people don't do. We don't prepare. We think we're going to be here forever. So we're not preparing for the what if. Then when something happens, the wife trying to figure out what to do. Why? Because as a husband, my thing is as a husband, if something would happen to me, I'm not going to leave my wife struggling for nothing. Not only I'm looking out for my wife, I got to look out for my sons, my daughter, and my grandchildren. So, I was going to retire this year. I thought about retiring. And I said, my wife, she said, no, you ain't going to retire, you going to worry me. I said, nah. But I said, I'm going to keep on working. Why? Because I'm prepared. I can use that to make a way for my children and grandchildren. We're not going to be here forever. So what are we doing to prepare? And then we talk about Jacob's trouble. How many of you got grandchildren? Children and grandchildren? Are you looking out for their well-being? See, the thing about it is, if we want the house to get packed, if the storehouse is full, then guess what? The people going to start running in. When people are hungry, you'd be surprised. See, when you have to meet people at their needs. When you talk to people, if you're talking to a man that is hungry and you're trying to talk to him about the Most High, he's not going to hear you. That's why Yah told us to do what in Jeremiah 29? What did Yah tell us in Jeremiah 29? He said, build ye what? Do you take that as a commandment? How many of us take it as a commandment? I do. And then what else he said in that? He said, do what? Plant some what? So y'all know that these times was what? Coming. In Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, it tells us there's a time and a season for what? Do you know what time you're living in now? Do we know what time we're living in? Do you see y'all judgment over the world, the whole earth? So we see y'all judgments over the whole earth, and we see what y'all is doing, and y'all told us that we should do what? Build houses and plant vineyards. What are we going to do? Are we just going to sit back and keep thinking Walmart going to be there, Kroger's? And I'm going to share something with you. A lot of this food that you think is food ain't food. There's a movie I want you to check out. It's called Solid, what is my wife? Solid Green. Anybody else seen that movie? Yes. That movie was made in the 70s, but it was projected to what? The year of what? 2022. And what was they doing in that movie? Eating what? People. Fake food. That was made out of people. The elites was eating real food, and the common people was eating fake food. This is why y'all want us to be what? Self-sufficient. But we don't want to be self-sufficient because we're so spoiled. We want to continue to go to the Chinese restaurant and get that dog and cat and everything else they probably giving in there. See, I done been to China. I done been to Asia. I lived in Korea. I done been to Japan. And I seen, you ain't got to tell me, I seen firsthand what be in their meat market. I seen the dogs hanging up in there.
Kagogi.
See, called Kagogi. They beef, they call that bulgogi. I speak Korean pretty fluent. When I go into Asia, I tease them because I speak Korean. They be like, but I lived in Korea for a lot of years, so I understand that. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times we have to be careful in these places where we think we're eating food, And it's not food. We talk about Jacob's trouble, but what are we doing to prepare for it? How are we training our children up? And if there, in my house, I remember a few years back, we went to an ice storm. We was without power for about 2 weeks. But I learned something in there. I learned that I need to be prepared for anything. You don't know what the Creator's shaking this whole world upside down. How many of you have Arctic sleeping bags in your house? I'm talking about Arctic sleeping bags. You know, Arctic sleeping bags, they go 10, 15 degrees below zero, and you're going to stay warm in there. Huh? Well, you can. Think about it. What about Arctic sleeping bags? How many of you teach your children if something happened? Do you teach your children, if they're at school, how to get in contact with you? Or where a safe place to meet? We're in Jacob's trouble. They snatching people up every day. They snatched a woman up in Memphis, I think, and her child the other day. But a good thing, I'm so thankful they released her though. So we got to understand, what time are we living in? We need to learn how to get back to our history, our people, which we was agricultural people. We was agricultural people. Let's go to Proverbs 19. In Proverbs 19, look at verse 15. 19 verse 5. What does it say in Proverbs 19 and 5? Watch what y'all say in this. Just a few more scriptures and I'm out the way. I just want to put on our spirit and our heart that we're going to have to go back to the what? The old ways. My wife, she do canning. She did some pears and, she make preserves and things like that. I grow watermelons. I grow purple hood peas. I grow okra. I do a lot of things because this is something that y'all put on my spirit. Anybody heard me speak? Am I saying anything different that you heard in years? I've been teaching it for years. Telling people you better get prepared. You better get prepared because this thing's going to hit the fan. And those of us that are prepared, you're going to see one thing about it. Everybody going to go through the same problem. Some people going through Jacob's trouble now. Some people got hard now. But if we learn how to prepare ourselves, it won't be so bad. And you got to think about your little ones, your children. You can't rely on the government. Some folks got that PPP loan and they created them fake stuff. You going to jail. You going to jail. They just trick you to do all that so they can set your butt up. Some of you know you ain't had no you have no companies or businesses. You created it. And say, for instance, you was in a public housing or you was getting government assistance. Now you done told them you got a business now. They're going to kick you out. See, you got to use the wisdom. Y'all said our enemy is very what? Crafty. Very crafty. What does Proverbs 19 and 5 say? Anybody got it? See, and that's what happened. A lot of our leaders are not teaching our people to be prepared. Talk to our people. Let them know that, listen, yes, we're going through Jacob's trouble, but that don't mean we just supposed to sit there and don't do nothing. When Pharaoh had the dream and nobody can interpret a dream, he went to Joseph. Joseph told him what to do. And now if y'all ain't speaking to you, saying, when I was a child growing up in Mississippi, my parents always kept the house stocked with food. They only went to the store for flour and things of that nature. But they didn't go like we go. Some of us don't, we go to the restaurants. This is how spoiled we done got now. We go to the restaurant. We can eat like, we can show the white man, I got money like you got money now. I can eat what you eat now. And then we wonder why we got these diseases. But in my closing, I just want to thank the Most High for just to share a few things and put on everybody's mindset is this. You got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. Because this thing is getting serious. It's already been serious. They taking guns to school nowadays, the children. You got to pray for your children every day. Every day something's going on.
I'll be the first one there. Don't worry about it.
And it's and the thing about it is,
Locked and loaded.
as the Most High told us in Zephaniah 2, why do you think he told us to come together?
Because we're going to need each other.
You think he just come together for us to party? Why do you think he told us to be self-sufficient in Jeremiah 29? Don't you think that y'all knew that these days was coming? When he says, but are we doing that? Those of you that living in the north, y'all need to connect with people in the south.
Sure do. I got music in the south.
Where you can get people that grow fresh food with heirloom seeds, right? I got seeds stored up for years. I save why? Because I know there's going to be a bartering technique. See? Because I know money going to fail. And those that got seeds, those that know how to purify water, you going to have a great advantage over a lot of people. Because when a man is hungry, he can have $1 million. He'll throw that $1 million for a plate of food if he ain't got no need. Huh? See, y'all give an example. When you ain't got no food, you'll pretty much sell your soul for a plate. But what are we doing about it? So I just thank everybody for their opportunity, for listening to me. And don't be afraid of death. I go to the VA, and they was always threatening me with, you need to take the shot. You're going to get this, and you're going to die. I said, I'm going to die one day anyway. That don't scare me. I'm going to die one day anyway. And once you understand that once they can't use death as a fear tactic, then what else can they do? If I could join the military and be a combat soldier, and I was willing to die for the man, I surely ought to be willing to die for the Creator. See what I'm saying though? When I didn't know no better, that man sent me all over the world. I was doing the Panama invasion. Did he think about dying then? Because he was giving me a check. Then when they came out with what's the new thing? We came out with Persian Gulf. See, if I was willing to put my life on the line for a country that didn't care nothing about me, surely I can put my life on the line for the Creator. Right? So the thing about it, I thank y'all for listening to me. I pray that the Most High words fall on the good grounds in our heart. And we as a people, let's come together and put our resources together to help our people. And I'm going to say this. I was sharing Moray Mordecai. Y'all having this event today, right? We should put money and leave it at this place to help them out. Charlotte, who from Charlotte, North Carolina? When y'all have something, we should send them money. You could take each Knesset, if you just take an extra $2 or $3, when somebody is throwing an event, even if you can't make it, take that money and send it to them. Now, I told you that a few years back we talked about that. See, this is what we got to do to show people that we are our brother's what? Keeper. Each Knesset, each place that has an event, let's help them out. The food that we got, somebody has to pay for it, right? So let's show our brothers the love that the Most High tell us to do, to help each other out, to help each Knesset out. Then we can have a storehouse. So when the people begin to flood in, because they're going to flood in, then you can be able to meet their what? Their needs. Shalom, shalom.
Hallelujah. I just want to say real quick, Moray Yaakov, thank you very much. Me and this brother have worked